you want to get better at diving as a goalkeeper, you need to know about the 4 core basic diving techniques for goalkeepers. Before we get to that top corner, we need to master the basics. In this video, I'm gonna break them down. So without further ado, don't say it, let's dive right into it. The first technique is the leg removal diving technique. In the modern game, goalkeepers tend to use their feet more and more to save the ball. And as it can be very, very beneficial to use your feet to save the ball, there are situations when we as goalkeepers, we want and we actually need to keep the ball with our hands. This save is especially useful when the ball comes close to our feet, but it's not quite close enough for the scoop save, and it's not quite long enough for the collapse save. So what you want to do in this technique is to take a negative step away from the ball, but instead of putting your foot down, you want to remove your feet, almost like kicking the other leg from underneath your body. If you don't have a partner and you want to train this technique, you can put a ball in front of your legs and one to the side, and as you dive, you kick this ball and descend down to the ground. The second technique is the collapse dive. The collapse dive is probably the save that we use the most as goalkeepers. The collapse dive is especially useful for low balls and also for balls that come in the midsection. So when we perform the collapse dive, we want to take a step towards the ball. We want to put our chin and our face towards the ball as the ball comes. And as we fall down to the ground, we want to put the ball on the ground with one hand on top of the ball, one hand on the side, and using the ground as the third hand. One advice that I really like is to think of your body as an elevator. If the ball comes low, you need to have a low body position, and if the ball comes in the midsection, you need to have a higher body position. If you don't have a partner, one way of training the collapse dive is just to bounce the ball, and as it comes back up again, you just collapse on it. As you can see, keep my hands nicely in front of my body, my shoulder aligns with my knee, my step is forward, and I have really good control of the ball. By mastering the collapse dive, you're ready to dive into the extended saving techniques. We'll start by the low dive saving technique. The basics are exactly the same as for the collapse dive, but instead of collapsing on the ball, we now want to push off with our step. We step, our body position is forward, my hands are in front of my body, and I push off, nice and balanced. Obviously, we want to catch the ball with both hands if we can, but there are obviously situations where you have to make a decision and just push the ball away. The last technique is the save that we all dream about the night before we go to bed, before a big game. But the truth is, this is the save we use the least as goalkeepers. However, we need to master this technique, especially if we want to make a YouTube highlight. The basic principles are exactly the same. To get to that top corner, you need to use exactly the same methods that you've used in the collapse dive and the low diving technique. But instead of diving downwards, we want to elevate upwards. So as we step into our power step, our chin is facing forward, our chest is forward, our hands are nicely in front of our body. We want to really set off. And if you watch my hands, I want to generate power with my hands as well. I go from 2 hands to 1. 2 hands, make a decision, to 1. You always want to use both your hands as you set off, because you don't want any dead weight just hanging around there, ruining your perfect Hollywood save. So that's the 4 core diving techniques for goalkeepers. If you like this video, please do subscribe to our channel. And also, if you want to watch the next video on our channel, just click the link above my head somewhere.